YouTube, what's happening? PPS here with my boy Monotone, back for second time this week. This feels like yesterday, but I guess it was 2 days ago that we dropped our NBA stuff. But how are you doing? I know we just talked a couple days ago. It's a little different seeing you multiple times in a week.
Yeah. Since last time you saw me, I ditched the hoodie, got in a nice shower, feeling a lot better,
Yeah, I got
less
my
sick.
hoodie.
Yep. So yeah, doing great. You guys are gonna have to get used to seeing us. Looks like twice a week now. It's going pretty well so far. So
Yeah, no, very, very well. Nice to see you, Matt. Hope you're doing well. Yeah, I mean, it was really good. NBA started off well. I'm going to pop over onto NFL first. Then we'll look over a little bit on our NBA last thing. I'm sure we'll recap NBA again next Wednesday. But yeah, let's just pop in, see how we did last week. This was our results going into last week, 26-13, and another profitable week. I mean, what can we say? I think we've only had one negative week, and I think that was week one. So consecutively on a 6 week profitability. Knock on wood there. But let's go over our results. I think this was the only miss, right, that you had?
yep, only miss, smallest play of the week was the only miss. So at least you keep your losses small, right?
That's why we unit size. Perfect.
Yep, Hollywood went over fairly easily as usual. And then our guy, Hunter Renfrow, someone said it. I got to get the jersey, man. I got to start repping Hunter Renfrow for what he's done for me and all of us here, man. 5-6 weeks in a row. It's crazy.
Yeah, dude. I mean, it's been a crazy run on Renfrow. Dude, if Nick Chubb didn't get hurt, I would have been on my run too. Every time you have him, I roll Nick Chubb out there, but he obviously had to get hurt for me. Tannehill almost hit this in the first half, so I was very, very happy with that play. I almost got worried they were going to blow him up by too much, and he was not going to throw a single pass in the second half. But A.J. Brown, yard after catch, just carried me on that play. Darrell Henderson, wild game script. Was not expecting that at all for the Lions to come punch him square in the mouth early. But tip your hat off to Goff, right? I mean, he played well. Defense played extremely well, held him to 3 yards a pop last week. And that was not what I was expecting. And then I got so many DMs on Deebo Samuel about talking about the weather. I do not care about the weather. Talent beats weather, man. And that's what we talked about. Deebo destroyed this with like 103, and I saw his line kept moving down, so I hit it like 2 or 3 more times. Obviously not for 2 units. I threw 2 units right away. I ended up probably having close to 4 on him total, which is terrible. And 3 units my max. So that's how happy I was with Deebo Samuel there, rolling out there.
That's awesome, man. I mean, like we said, the weather, it hurts the offense, it hurts the defense just as much too. So I'm glad you didn't get scared off by the Twitter comments right there.
Yeah, dude, I had a lot of people asking me like freaking out. And, hey, should I cash out? I'm actually putting more on this. So DFS on our end, actually, I mean, it was probably our worst week overall. I mean, we both had Chiefs, which I mean,
yeah.
I think most of the field had Chiefs. I saw the GPP winners. There was one Chief in their lineup. It was like, or one Titan in that lineup. I don't remember. It was super low scoring because almost everybody had someone from that game.
Yeah. Yep, happens with DFS.
Yeah, and Fields, I have no words. So I took the dog shot, and they just absolutely murdered that guy.
Yeah, that was a brutal game. That was just brutal.
Technically, we won this.
Yeah, it depends on how your book grades it. But Adams scored a touchdown. Waller got ruled out. Technically, it is a win, depending on your book. I got paid out on the -1, like 150, whatever it was for the Adams. So not quite the plus 266, but we're scrapping for those wins. So
we'll take it, man. It starts the run. All right, let's take a look at the comments. I love this. I like that. That's hilarious. I love that. PPS Credit Union Mono Bank. Let's go. How we doing, Quinn? Hope you're doing well. Sean, this guy's I follow him for some soccer stuff too. I obviously do a little bit of soccer as well, but he has a great show over there as well. We got Steve in the house. Steve in here, one of my boys here, Sean. My guy's back. Jason, always in here calling our shot. I believe that's another podcast, correct?
Oh yeah, another guy in the NBA NFL grind. Appreciate it. He should be on here pretty soon.
Yeah, man. Tell him to shoot me a DM. We'll get him in here and we'll figure it out. We have a few people we're trying to get in here, but we're at such a weird time. But we get a ton of you guys in here. That's why we appreciate when right now we got 95 live viewers. So we appreciate you finishing your week off with us here. Hopefully you're at work on your desk and you're like, hey, let's get some bets locked in for the weekend. Happy Friday. We made it. Hit the thumbs up. Yes, thank you, Sean. All over Debo. Happy to see it. I like this. Bears are bad because of Nagy. Well, he's hurt or he's in COVID, so they might be good now.
Yeah, I wouldn't cross my fingers on that one, but
Ready for some bangers? Go Pack, go, baby. Hell yeah. I don't even care that I lost money last night because freaking LaFleur went past the damn ball. I'll take a W, man. I'll take the W. Smash the like. Thank you. Guys, make sure you go follow Monotone as well. I have his YouTube link in the description below, so make sure you pop over there, show him some love on his YouTube as well. And let's get this thing rolling, baby. Let's get this thing rolling. Oops, I probably should take off our D-Gen parlay there from last week. Real quick, kind of talk about our NBA. We ended up going 3-1 over there. Won't go through everything. We'll recap it next Wednesday. But yeah, good 3-1 start to our first NBA week, and now we're back for some football. So let's get after it here. We're gonna start off with our smallest one like usual, and we'll start out with your first one.
Yeah, so this is the one that I haven't shared anywhere else. So we're getting the first look right here to everyone that is with us. And it's going to be Carson Wentz over 37.5 as his longest completion, catch, whatever your book has it labeled as. It's minus 120. And I would play it here, and I'd play it at 38.5. When we look at the numbers, right, his first week of the season, it was whatever. He had 36. And that was his low point of the season, right? He came out this year with some messed up ankles, right? There were all those jokes about no ankles Wentz, But even after that 36 as his longest completion in that first game, he's fired him off with 41, 76, 52, and 57. So he's been over 50 actually in the last 3 games. There's still a little bit of hope T.Y. Hilton plays, which would be nice, but it's not necessary, right? Because in the beginning of the season, we saw Michael Pittman kind of serve as that almost like a slot receiver. It's kind of weird. They were using him really close to the line of scrimmage, but I think they realized that was a bad idea. And since then, Wentz has actually been one of the more accurate deep ball passers in the NFL, which is kind of hard to believe, right? But this was a little bit of his bread and butter coming out of college and something that the Eagles were able to take advantage of back when he was with them. He started out the season unhealthy, but even then, like I said, he's hit this in 4 or 5 games this season and 4 straight. There's really no reason that this Titans defense gives me to stay away right here, right? We've been picking on the Titans defense both in DFS and props every single week of the year so far, and it's been a good strategy, right? They're really banged up with injuries, so I'm not worried about this Titans defense one bit, and I think Wentz is going to continue slinging it deep down the field. So if T.Y. Hilton is in, then this is elevated to a 1-unit play, and I'll double up on it. I'm waiting for that news. But even without it, I still like it as a half-unit play with full confidence.
Yeah, no, I love when we roll these because I really never do the longest reception ones. But you make a ton of good points. I love guys. Like I said, same thing with Debo, same thing with all the guys we talk about. I talk about Yak all the time. And you got some of the best yards after catch guys here. You even have Nyheim Hines, who can take a screen to the house anytime. Pittman's obviously elite receiver coming across the middle. He's got elite speed. And even Jonathan Taylor's shown that he's got the ability to break off one of those screen passes. He's been getting quite a few lately. I think this is a great matchup. Would they have? I believe they have the Titans, correct?
Yeah.
So I definitely like this spot. I think that what's going to happen is if the Titans get up, we're going to see Carson Wentz just want to score quick, and that's going to be where it's going to be. Because if you're having to deal with Derrick Henry, hold the ball for 9 minutes, it could easily just be just like last night where the Cardinals were trying to take those big shot plays and the Packers were just methodically moving down the field. That's why I hate betting on my Packers because they are boring as hell. But yeah, I definitely like the spot. Titans are really easily one of the spots to exploit. exploit on their secondary for sure.
Yep. I don't think there's much more we need to go on this one. I mean, he's just been crushing it. It's one of those things that name value brings it down a little bit. And I see that 36.5. Yep, that's also good. And I think 38.5 is good too. So I would stay in that range of between those three numbers.
Perfect. All right, on to my first one. Yes, guys, it does look familiar. It is because it is the same guy as last week. And yeah, you guys know my early season beef with Urban Meyer, Jameis, and that with James Robinson. But I'm going right back to the well. Got to have a short memory here when we're betting. So Henderson over 78.5 rushing yards. This is at Caesars Sportsbook. I have it for 1.5 units. Game script flipped real quick on those guys, right? But he still ended up with 15 carries. So it's not like they just abandoned the run all the way. They still tried to get him the ball. And now you guys know I love taking running backs versus the Texans. I've taken him with Jonathan Taylor. I've taken it with Nick Chubb, and undefeated on these so far on fading the Texans here. Last game, Edmonds and Connor. Connor had 64 rushing yards. Edmonds had 81. And they were averaging 5.9 yards a carry together. Jonathan Taylor, obviously, 14 carries, 145. Devin freaking Singletary with 80 yards rushing on this defense. Zach Moss with 60, so 5 yards a pop. And on the season, they're averaging 145 yards allowed per game on the ground and 4.7 yards per carry allowed. I'm seeing Henderson's rushing props for attempts. It is juiced at 15.5. So if I can get 16 carries out of this guy, which I think is another great spot if you want to take attempts. I love Darrell Henderson this week. I think he rights the ship here for us and gets us in the win column. Like I said, I love fading the Texans run defense. And they're pretty much giving up Mark Ingram now. I mean, they're just pretty much blown that team up. They're just pretty much sitting there ready to get slaughtered. So let's go Darrell Henderson. Let's get back in the win column here with them and get that bad taste out of the mouth.
Yeah, man. I mean, it's like I said to you before the show real quick, you got to have a short memory, right? You took the L with James Robinson early in the year, but you understand it was a good spot. Who could have expected what happened last week, right? Nobody saw that coming, no matter how sharp you are or claim to be. Nobody was out here talking about a competitive game. And I think the Rams might just kind of come out and just really kind of show that last game was a fluke. And yeah, it's kind of as simple as that. I mean, I don't want to say it's the worst run defense I've ever seen because they also had the Texans last year too, right? We have to remember that. But it's a very bad run defense, and Henderson's talented. So as soon as if he can get those carries, if they stay ahead of this game, it should be pretty easy work right here. I think we're in store for a nice bounce back week right here.
Yeah, I would say if I'm going to go up to it, I'd be probably 82.5 would be my max spot there. If it goes up to 85, maybe just 1 unit. I really like him this week. Probably going to be in quite a few of my DFS lineups as well. Agreed. My books are stalking the stream and both bets are higher instantly. Man, we got to start blocking people.
Honestly, give us the names.
Yeah. Somebody find them. We're okay with snitches in here. You can snitch on some bad guys.
Let them know. Let us know.
All right. Well, talking of the Rams, we'll throw in one of your plays here that has the Rams involved in it.
Yeah, so it's Najee Harris over 4.5 receptions, along with the Rams money line at -122. This is a 1.5 unit play. As you guys know, I don't go above 1 very often, but when I do, because I really like it. Najee Harris has hit this number in 4 of 6 games so far this season, and he is averaging essentially 5.6. Not essentially, he is averaging 5.6 catches a game, along with over 7 targets a game. So this is a guy that's highly involved in the passing game, and he's the third running back in terms of target share in the whole NFL, right? So just as a rookie, he's right behind DeAndre Swift, those kind of guys, number 3 in the league. Additionally, if you look at his game log, he's had 3 games where he's had 15 or less carries. In all 3 of those games, he hit this number easily. When you look at it, the Browns have one of the best run defenses in the NFL. It's going to be hard for Najee Harris to run the ball this week. They're going to have to get him involved in other ways. We just saw Eric Ebron go down this week, which is another kind of one of those guys that runs routes close to the line of scrimmage. You may not think a tight end being out would affect Najee Harris, but I think it gives him a good at least 1 target bump, which doesn't sound like much, but when you're asking for 5 receptions, I think we'll take all those targets we can get. Big Ben is just a dump down kind of guy. We know it. We've seen it over his career. Le'Veon Bell, he even made James Conner a bit of a pass catcher. Najee Harris is like a gifted pass catcher. He is this whole offense. I agree with that completely. And yeah, 5 catches really isn't too much to ask for, especially given all the circumstances with the Browns run defense.
Yeah, I just actually popped over on one of my tabs here. The Browns front 7 has a 17% advantage over the Steelers line here on the run side. So definitely like this spot. Obviously, the same thing is going to be talked about with Mr. Kamara too, right? With Tampa, I know you had that write-up, which was a great write-up if you haven't read it yet. But that's the same thing. You have a tough run defense. You have to find a way to get your best players involved in the game. Najee Harris obviously is a top. I mean, if he is not their top playmaker, he's definitely top 2. And obviously Big Ben just can't move. So whenever that pressure's coming, immediately looks for the dump downs. I like this spot a lot. And hopefully you don't have a Rams heart attack like last week, huh?
Yeah, I mean, I've gotten pretty lucky, right? I only pair it with the money lines every once in a while, just like when it's super safe. I got the Bucks last week against the Bears, which is no sweat. They were up 38-3 at halftime, and I counted it as a win right on Twitter. Some guys messaging me like, hey man, the game's not over yet, and it's like the Bucks are up 38-3. Like I'm counting this one as a win. You can wait till the end, but I'll take my victory lap early. I think it'll be the same thing here. I'm not worried about the Texans. Yeah,
not the Rams. I had the Buccaneers as my last leg to a 7-leg parlay, 4 UFC fights. Then I had Packers, New England, and the Buccaneers plus 2,000 parlay. And obviously was very happy to see you win with the Bucks there because that was my last leg. So I was thinking about hedging it, and then I'm like, wow, this is a bad football team they're playing.
Yeah. That was a brutal game. That was a brutal game
to watch. All right, let's go to the next one. This is my second play. Another 1.5. Honestly, I probably would have it higher if it wasn't juiced like this. I don't like taking those plays that are pretty juicy for more than probably 1 to 1.5 units because I play them to win that amount of units. So we have Kyle Pitts this week playing Carolina. Last 3 games for Carolina, they've allowed 23, 33, and 22 completions. And one of those was to Jalen Hurts, who doesn't even pass the football. So 22 of those completions were Jalen Hurts, who probably threw the ball. I don't even think he's thrown it more than 20 times in his last 3 games. Man just runs the ball every time. Atlanta has a minus 32% pass blocking advantage. So I really like this spot for maybe those quick dump downs and having Kyle Pitts do the yards after catch that he is known for. This man is an absolute tank of a dude. He had a 20% target share last week, 22% the week before. And the last 3 weeks, he's sitting at 27 targets and 20 receptions. The Panthers have allowed the second fewest fantasy points to running backs this year, which is huge because Cordero Patterson is the talk of the fantasy world, right? Everybody loves Cordero Patterson, loves his receiving yards, loves his rushing yards. But the reason I went into fantasy points is because that takes into consideration catches, yards, touchdowns, and the Panthers have been really good finding a way to guard him out of the backfield. Mike Davis has just taken a complete left turn for the worst there. They're only allowing 4.4 yards per carry to backs as well, which is like one of the top 5 in the league. Obviously, to put in reference, the Buccaneers are number 1 with 3.7 yards. And this is one of the biggest stats that I found was 42% of his snaps last week. He was lined up on the outside. He wasn't even lined up in the tight end position. He was lined up as a receiver. And so that just shows me that these guys are finding a way to get him involved in the game, finding a way to get him the ball. It doesn't matter. They have said, Calvin Ridley, you are not the dude right now. Our number one guy is Kyle Pitts. He's just getting targets up the butt right now, man. I watched that game and it's going to him. That pass is going to him. I played him in fantasy 2 weeks ago and literally he had 13 targets. And I was just watching it and I'm like, oh, pass. Where's Kyle Pitts? He immediately looks that way. Calvin Ridley is now an afterthought. Cordell Patterson's going to have a tough matchup, whether it be running or passing through the air. I love Kyle Pitts this week. He's probably going to be in most of my DFS lineups. And I just think that he's going to be a smash spot this week. I'll let you talk a little bit, and then I'll just pull up your next play. So we're pretty much on the same guy.
We're very aligned with how this game is going to go. But additionally, too, I it's just a little thing, but I'm not giving up on Ridley yet. I wouldn't be quite as harsh, but the problem is defenses are so aware of how good he is, and they're shutting him down. The Panthers have a good wide receiver stopping defense. It's going to be really hard for Ridley to get things done when he's just the only guy in town besides Pitt. So, as you know, I obviously love Pitts this week. It's a great spot. And, we can go into mine now. It's Kyle Pitts' longest reception, over 21.5. I would play this up to 23.5. I expected the number to drop at 25.5. When you think of tight ends, you don't think of these kind of routes, right? You think of short to intermediate routes for the most part. But as I posted on Twitter the other day, I posted his route chart of that 183 or 180-yard receiving game he had the other day. And he's running deep routes. These aren't your Evan Ingram, your Ricky Seals-Jones kind of routes. This guy is going down the field. They're getting him in one-on-one contested catch situations, and they're letting him do work. Additionally, he's a great athlete. So as you know, as you mentioned yourself, the yards after catch are huge right here. Just a quick little slant over the middle. He could break any one of those to the house for a touchdown. I don't even know. I was so surprised that this was low. He's hit this in, I believe, every game since the start of the season. He's had a huge success rate. And then additionally, you guys all know how talented he is. I don't have to dump these stats on you or anything like that, but he's PFF's highest graded rookie in the whole class. And then he's also the fourth highest rated tight end out of any tight end in football. That's almost unheard of for a rookie. And that's really because he's not a tight end. He's a wide receiver that lines up in the slot. Behind Mike Gesicki, who's at 90%, Kyle Pitts runs the most routes out of the slot for any tight end in the league with 73%. He runs more slot routes than Hunter Renfrow does sometimes, right? And that's our guy. So we both love Pitts today. I was glad to see that. We didn't coordinate beforehand. We just kind of figured it out naturally, and that's always the best thing. So I'm glad we're both on Pitts. I think we're in store for another great week.
Yeah, no, and that's always something I want to make sure I'm telling everybody is I get his picks about 30 minutes before the show to plug in. When we're on the same thing, that makes me so much more confident. Like I said, if it wasn't a minus 130 spot, that's the most juice I'll eat on some of these. If it wasn't that, I'd probably be throwing a little bit more on it, but I'm very happy to see that you are on the same play or on the same guy as me as well. Julio just got ruled out for the Titans. Wow. Okay. Yeah. Well, I guess it's AJ Brown season again. So I have him in fantasy. Yeah. I'll be happy with it.
Yeah, there you go. I like Julio. I was going to play him this week, but that's okay.
Yeah, it should be a good matchup. I'm curious how that game's going to go after Henry ran all over him for 120 last time. So I'm curious how that game will go. All right, we're on to my last one. Wow, we are making absolutely good time. Again, guys, if you guys do have any comments, we will get to them at the end. So if you guys have any questions, make sure you drop them in the comment box over there. All right, my last one and my biggest one, I am going to my guy, Jameis Winston. 3 years ago, this guy was my first, one of my first picks in fantasy every year because he was my favorite quarterback ever. If he throw a pick, which he always did, it would get returned to the house and you get the ball right back. Yeah. And would throw for 400 yards every single time. We are getting revenge tour Jameis. I love it. I love to see it. He's going and playing Tampa this week. As I mentioned earlier on the show here, Tampa has only allowed 3.7 yards per carry to running backs. Obviously, I did see Mark Ingram is heading over there. I think that just makes Kamara way more dynamic out of the backfield. I think that's going to be a great spot for him. And he has only thrown the ball 30 times this year, twice. One of them against Washington and one of them against their last game against Seattle in the downpour. So in this game, it like I said, if you want to look like the Lions, run the ball up the middle against a good defense, see what happens, right? Sean Payton's smarter than that. He's obviously a pretty good mastermind on the offensive side of the ball. And like I said, he's only thrown for 30 passes twice this season. One of them against Washington, he put up 280. And also, I was really curious how many yards he would have had if he didn't have those drop balls by Kenny Stills and Kevin White in that game. Those were two deep balls that easily were 30 plus. What would the line have opened at if he would have caught those, right? If those are caught, that's another 50 yards. He ended up with 220 last week. You catch two 30-yard passes. We're at 280. This line's probably 265. I thought it was going to be 264. That was my line written down. And you're going to give me 252. This is at Caesar Sportsbook, 252 and a half. I am going to hammer this line. I think that this is absolutely crazy. Jameis Winston is going to throw this ball around. He's going to have to. I am looking forward to seeing old school Jameis. And I'm really excited for this game. I think this game is going to be one of those shootout type of matchups that Jameis Winston loved to get into when he was with Tampa. I see way over 30 passes attempted. And like I said, if you take away the rain last week, that I'll blame the rain for the drops. Okay. So if you blame the rain, he goes for his 30 pass attempts. He crushes last week. He crushes his line. I think it was only like 240 last week. And ended up getting down to like 228 with the rain and everybody was betting him down. But man, he probably ends up at 280 to 290 if they don't drop those passes. And now we're going to have a great matchup, huge division rivalry or rivalry now that Tom Brady's there and beating their ass all the time. I think this is going to be a fun game. And I look forward to seeing Jameis get back to old form of just throwing that football around. And now you have the best receiving back right there. You have Kamara right there. So anytime you're about to get hit, you just drop it off to him and easily can break it off to a 20-yard gain. I love Jameis this week. I love him. 2 units, throw it on him. These 2 units have been hot lately on here, so I'm hoping we can continue those streaks with this 2-unit banger here.
Yeah, I mean, as you know, I'm on Kamara this week, right? And receiving yards, you kind of mentioned it briefly, and I think they go together really well. Which you didn't mention, which maybe it's common sense, and I don't even need to mention this anymore, but the Bucs are the biggest pass funnel team in the NFL. You need to throw on the Bucs if you want to win games. That's why the Bears got we got a better line right here, 240. Yep, okay, love that. But yeah, I mean, it's as simple as that, right? Like Jameis is going to have so much opportunity this game to throw the ball downfield. The Saints beat the Bucs twice last year. I don't think this is like a blowout or anything like that. So yeah, as we see, we got the good number at 246, even better. But
damn, I'm gonna throw another unit.
Really? Yeah,
it might become a max unit play here. Damn, this might get to a 3-unit pretty quick if it's gonna say 246.
We got PPS fired up live, giving him this live information right here. But
that ain't good, guys. That ain't good for my that ain't good for my bankroll. Don't do this to me.
Bankroll management. Yeah, I mean, I don't really have much to add. We saw what Jameis used to be, and we're finally seeing Payton unlock him a little bit more after the bye week, taking the training wheels off. So I could really see 500 yards. Like, who's surprised with 500 yards, right? Like, if anyone did that, it would be Jameis. Like, it's just in his DNA. This guy loves chucking the ball down the field since his first day at Florida State. So I'm in with you right here.
One more thing I will add is if you guys have DraftKings, I found this line is they have a special on there for Tom Brady and Jameis Winston to combine for over 4.5 touchdown passes. I threw a banger on that, plus 210. That is ridiculous. Tom Brady might do that himself, dude. He might do that himself.
Yep.
You're not going to run up the middle with Kamara to score a touchdown here. You're going to dump it to him. I literally just pulled up that line. Like I said, 2 plus 210 I have it at. It is looking right now. I just pulled it up for the weekly specials. It's at plus 190 now. But still great odds. I just found that one when I was researching this morning again. So go grab that line. I think that is a fantastic value.
Yeah, please don't bet that too quickly, guys. You got to give me some time to get off the show afterwards, right? That is actually great value. Normally, that's the kind of play that's boosted to like plus 100, not plus 200, I mean, we already know Jameis had a 4-touchdown game earlier this season, and Brady's hit 3 touchdowns in all but 1 or 2 games this year. So that's a fire spot. I'll definitely have to jump on that with you. And then, Sue, someone asked me real quick in chat about the Kamara receptions prop. That's a 1.5 unit play for me. It wasn't a show play. It was my debut article over at Odds Checker. So you can find that over on Twitter at Monotone Football. But yeah, I love Kamara. Additionally, we're giving you guys a free game preview practically at this point.
And I'm sorry, guys, I can't get the banners to work this week. I just said that to Monotone before we got on here. I will review those right now before we get to our DFS. Doesn't look like we have any other questions regarding plays. Or any of your guys' plays. We will go right over a quick review here. Sorry about that today. Carson Wentz over 37.5 for Monotone. We got a 1.5 on Darrell Henderson rushing yards. Nice little parlay Rams money line. Najee Harris 1.5. Wow, we have big units out this week. I like it. Pitt's over 4.5. Pitt's longest reception over 21. That's 3 units on Pitt's.
Oh, yeah.
And Jameis Winston 2 units might be a max play if I can get 246.5. If I can go get that before everybody kills my line here, I will be going and grabbing that one too. That is a great line. All right, let's pop comments. I do not see, yes, it was a good article, very good article.
Appreciate that.
And let's get to it. Don't think we have any other comments and concerns in there. And let's get to our DFS action.
Yep. So value plays. I'm sticking at the tight end position right here. Ricky Seals-Jones did us good. I don't want to jump ship quite yet. I'll still have a little bit of Ricky Seals-Jones this week, but we're going on to another favorite over here. It's going to be Tarzan Dan Arnold himself, the tight end that was formerly on the Panthers, now on the Jacksonville Jaguars. So this guy's burned me a couple times. In primetime in London, he burned me. I'm 1-1 betting on him this year. He dropped a couple easy catches, kind of looked like he got banged up. They had the backup in there for a little bit, but he's back. He's healthy. He's got the whole bye week to get used to this team. And yeah, I love Arnold. I don't want to spoil anything, but I have another odds checker article this week, and it may or may not be relating to this player in this game. So I'll be as unspecific as possible. But if I was betting this guy when he was playing 50% of snaps before the bye week, being traded 1 week, then I'll bet him again. Trevor Lawrence loves the tight end, and this is one of my favorite games of the slate. It's kind of almost like a dual threat here because I'm going to be playing Trevor Lawrence too and Dan Arnold. Those are 2 huge value plays this week. It's a good little stack. I'll throw in Marvin Jones to complete the stack. The Seahawks defense sucks, but what it is good against, it is surprisingly, if you look at the stats, they're a top 10 rush defense. This might throw a lot of people off. Maybe it's because you don't even have to run on them. I'm not sure the exact reason, but they're getting the job done. That being said, the pass catchers are doing much better against the Seahawks. And then if you look at the Jaguars can't stop anybody. Gino Smith, I think this is the week he finally is able to move the ball down the field effectively. It's going to be a little harder, but I mean, this Jacksonville team can't stop anyone, right? You look bad when you play the Rams. You look bad when you play the Steelers. You don't look bad when you play the Jacksonville Jaguars. So I like Arnold right here. This is a sneaky over, in my opinion. It's a game I'm targeting. And yeah, it's Arnold and Lawrence are both a tag team. And also someone asked real quick about the Carson Wentz over 37.5. That was longest completion. So his longest pass, just to reiterate that one. But yeah, love this game. Love the Jacksonville Jags. Love Arnold. And I love the guy you're about to talk about too.
Yeah. We're rolling with Samaje Perine. Someone that really doesn't get any love in the industry. I won't be surprised to see him under 5-6% ownership this week. And he's got the best matchup you can get besides the Texans, right? We got the Jets. Obviously, they are minus 11 this week. So they're double-digit favorites. And last week we saw what happens when they get up big on a team, right? They got up big on the Ravens. And Samaje Perine only had 1 less carry than Joe Mixon. They stopped playing Joe Mixon in that fourth quarter. He didn't even come in the game. I could definitely see that happening again this week if they get up early on the Jets. He looked really, really explosive in every single carry he had. He had a nice 40-yard run in there mixed in with a touchdown. And in his last 2 weeks, he has gotten 15 FanDuel points in his last 2 weeks. So seeing him at 5,700, I just think that is absolutely insane value for a guy that, could be pushing 1A, 1B in carries. Here. So, why would you throw Joe Mixon out there for 20 carries when you can have him only get 12 and have P. Ryan get 12 and not have to get him hit as many times?
Yeah, man. This, as a Joe Mixon fantasy owner, this is tough, right? But the good news is my fantasy teams already suck, so there's not much worse that can happen right there. But yeah, I think they finally realized that if we run Mixon into the ground every game, he's going to get injured, and he gets injured every year. So it looks like they finally figured it out that P. Ryan actually looks good out there. He's breaking tackles. He looks like a good runner. Former, I believe, Washington football team player. Unfortunately, not with the team anymore. But yeah, I think it's a good spot. I sprinkled his touchdown yesterday, actually at plus 275, and I think this lines up really well with it too. Like he's getting carries, and if they're up 15, 17, 20 points at halftime against the Jets, he's getting a full load, like a full 16 carry kind of game, which is beautiful against that Jets defense. So yeah, I love both of these value plays. They're going to be in a lot of my lineups this week.
Yeah, and this gets you that potential to get your stacks in there, right? With the Buccaneers game, with that Saints game, if you want to run a game stack with Kamara, Brady, Evans, stuff like that. Those are expensive pieces, guys. So you have to find your value. And speaking of that game, we're going to roll our DFS big boys out there.
Yeah, once again, something we did not coordinate before, but I love Brady this week. Like I said earlier when you mentioned that promo, this guy's top 3 touchdowns in all but 1 or 2 games so far this season. And his usage is, usage isn't the right word, sorry. I was going to say his wide receiver usage is extremely concentrated because Godwin, Evans, and then Brown, when he's healthy, are going to be the guys that eat. Brown is now no longer healthy. And as we know, Evans gets locked up by Lattimore. Like, if you guys aren't following this is one of the most talked about matchups probably in football. Lattimore, every year, this is a primetime game. Everyone sits down and watch Mike Evans do absolutely nothing against the Saints. I believe he has a lot. I don't remember his career total amount of games against the Saints, but they play each other twice a year. He's only gone over 100 receiving yards once in his career. That's not good. Either way, you have Godwin, so I'm kind of making your argument for you here. But Brady, when you go with Brady, either of them can hit, right? If Brady throws 3 touchdowns, if 3 of them are to Evans, that works for me too. He's expensive. He's going to be popular, but it's for good reason. Like we talked about earlier, I think this game is a sneaky shootout. Maybe not even so sneaky. Maybe it's just a shootout, and we all know it. But yeah, I love Brady this week, and I love Godwin too. He's obviously, if I'm playing Brady, I'm playing Godwin. So I'll let you talk a little bit more about him.
Yeah, I just love Chris Godwin this week. Last week was awesome. I had him in all my lineups last week. Nice 11 targets, even in a massive blowout. He got 11 targets. I was actually sweating a little bit because I also had his prop of 72 passing or receiving yards. He's at 66. They're up 30, but guess what? They still ran a play action across the middle to this guy. Without Brown in there, that is a huge target share going out. It's got to go somewhere else. I love fading Evans against Lattimore. And you saw Lattimore when they were facing Seattle last week. That man is a beast, man. He was trying to throw around DK Metcalf. Obviously, that did not go very well. DK literally took his helmet and threw the dude like a little rag doll. But Mike Evans is not – I'm not saying he's soft, obviously, but I'm saying compared to DK Metcalf, if he gets in the face of DK, I'm guessing he's getting right in the face of Mike Evans. This man is not afraid of anybody. Obviously, Brady will probably try throwing his way early on in the game, but Lattimore has shown that he's got that ability to shut Mike Evans down and done it multiple times. That just adds to it because last week Evans got loose quite a bit, and Godwin still got 11 targets. Still got 11. I wouldn't be surprised to see him in that 15, 16 range of targets this week. Probably sprinkling a little Fournette in there for those dump downs that he's been getting lately. Love Brady, love Godwin. Definitely a stack that needs to be had. And I'm hoping it does better than the Chiefs stack that I had in a few of my lineups last week.
Yeah, and I mean, I'll definitely be playing. A little bit of Evans too, because I think the field is a little too low on Evans. Right, Lattimore can't guard him on every single play. That's just not how football works. So it's not going to be. I'm not going to have more Evans than Godwin, but I'll have some Evans too. I just want to make it clear. I'm not totally leaving him out like some people are. I still. He's obviously a good receiver.
Yeah, Stat Hero, doing my survivor pools. I have Tampa Bay in quite a few of those. Godwin is a staple in my Stat Hero lineups over there. He is not priced to where he should be yet. And FanDuel, he's only 7,200. He's middle of the pack, nothing crazy. Yeah, he definitely did not get the boost that I thought he would after last week. I was expecting him to be in that 8K range. Cooper Kupp being 9,000 to be in to give you kind of correlation there, but let's get to our questions here. We got a few questions. Tom Brady over 310.
I mean, I can see it, right? It's hard to run on the Saints. That's why I'm on Brady. Fournette has been really good this year. It's hard to run on the Saints. They're a good run defense. So I think it's very possible. It also seems like a fair number. I have to dive a little bit deeper into it, but I would lean the over, but no strong opinion.
Yeah, I think a lot of the value sucked out of this number. If it was right around 300, I'd probably be there. What I always say with Mahomes, where they scare you away with those big numbers, they kind of scared me on this one. This one kind of seems like it's up there a little bit. But if he does those quick dump downs to Fournette instead of them using the run game, I think that this could easily be a smash spot. We got someone saying Zach Moss over Gainwell and DFS. He's got a beautiful matchup in Miami. I love that. I love the Bills this week. They should just absolutely mow those guys.
Yep, agreed.
Question about fantasy.
Well, I mean, if you've got Brady and you've got Stafford, you're
the rest
looking
of your team
like
must suck then.
Well, yeah, but you're probably doing pretty well, right? This is the 1 and 2 for MVP most likely at the moment in terms of how, if you had to give it out right now, I would go Brady just because I think this game has more shootout potential rather than Stafford, which has a lot more one-sided potential, just like you mentioned the game script. So I would go Brady right there.
For sure. Also, Gino Smith over 11.5 rushing yards. I sprinkled it, but wondering your thoughts. I'm really indifferent on that line. Without diving in personally before the show, I wouldn't be able to tell you my full opinion on it. But Gino, when I've seen him move out of the pocket, he's looked decent. Obviously not looking to run. He's still looking downfield. So, like I said, when I take quarterbacks that have rushing yards, I want them to want to run, right? Ideal situation, Gino Smith probably doesn't run this ball one time this week, right? Ideally, he probably wouldn't. And that's the same thing. That's why you hammer Allen. That's why you hammer Mahomes when he has him, because he will run. That's part of his game. Gino Smith rushing for 12 yards isn't necessary for them to be a good offense. So I would be on a middle. I'd be on a probably pass.
Yeah, couldn't have said it any better myself. Exactly.
Stack team got them late. I don't know why people were low on them. For sure, Seattle running back situation is shaky. Yeah, Carson, I have no idea what's up with him. Thoughts on A.J. Brown over 70.5?
I thought about it. Yeah, with Julio out, it gets enticing. I think they have to throw the ball more, right? They're going to want to run Derrick Henry as much as possible. But Colts, in terms of DVOA, are one of the better run defenses in the league. So I lean over, but this line almost feels suspicious, right? It feels like it should be 80 maybe. Without Julio, the fact that he's easily gone over it, there just feels something a little bit weird about this game. So if I had to bet it, I'd bet it over, but I'll probably just watch this one from the sidelines.
Yeah, like I said, we do not need to bet everything. But yeah, I think that this is almost like a scary spot, right? I like how you put that. It's pretty scary that it shouldn't. I mean, it should be higher personally. Okay. Do you want to do this one or you want me to?
Yeah. So I saw it. Yeah. It's pretty simple, actually. It's pretty much think any of your fantasy football leagues you already have going. It's called Daily Fantasy Sports. So you're essentially building a fantasy lineup every week, right? So for football, we have these huge slates full of Sunday games every week. And rather than drafting like a whole team every single week with your league of 12, you can just build the players based on price. So they give you a set amount of money and you build your team the best you can. So sometimes you have to get some value plays and go down and play some kind of, yikes kind of guys. And then sometimes you can just build up and pay all the way. So it's pretty much think your fantasy football leagues, but you're just building it every week with a certain price given to you by the websites.
Yeah, so I'll kind of just chime in a little bit on that, Ruff. Yeah, so we're giving you these guys as our value guys. P. Ryan is 5,700. Dan Arnold is 5,200. I'm on FanDuel looking at the prices right now. So obviously those are value guys. You can get higher guys involved in there. Brady is like 8,000. Godwin's 7,200. As you can tell, it's a little bit higher. But the reason they're higher is because obviously they are better, right? They have a higher ceiling. They have a higher probability of scoring more points, right? That's why we're rolling with those guys. Got to run. You guys are great. Keep up the good work. Thank you guys. Appreciate it. If you haven't smashed the like button, please do that. That we really appreciate that. And make sure to go check out Monotone. Oh, wow. This way. Oh, whoa. Other way. That was a lot harder than it should have been.
Oh, yeah.
Check out Monotone's YouTube down there, linked in the description below. Make sure you go pop over there. Show him some love. We got another question from Mark here. With Mike Williams, Joe Mixon, or Stefan Diggs?
Yeah, that's tough. I don't know what your perspective on that one is, but I'd probably go with the volume concerns with Mixon, assuming they might blow out the Jets. I might just go with the two receivers here and just go Williams and Diggs and shoot for that upside. Mixon is a little bit safer than them, but I would shoot for the upside with the two receivers. Yeah,
really. That's exactly what I was going to say. It really depends on, are you playing a crap team this week? If you're playing a crap team, I take the Mixon guaranteed points.
Yeah.
But Mike Williams has shown he's got really high boom potential. I think he's only had one really bad game. But
Humphrey locked him down.
And then we got here. New England there. Questionable, but, I mean, it only takes one catch. Mike Williams, that man's an absolute beast.
Yep.
Wonder if Bears 49ers will be as bad as it sounds. Yeah, man, that game was just going to be ugly. Just hoping Debo goes off for my fantasy purposes. That man's getting like 40% target share right now. So that would be the only place I look in that game is probably there. And honestly, I really think that this is a Mooney game. The only reason I say that is because we don't have Nagy. So if Nagy's not there, I feel like this is just going to be a short intermediate and then probably one or two bombs. And if I'm looking for the bombs, I'm definitely going Mooney's way there. I just have a feeling Mooney's going to have one of those games that just show that I'm still I'm pushing to be number one here. Allen Robinson is taking the backseat to me now.
Yeah, I mean, I think you described it really well. It's just going to be an ugly game, right? Like I'm not super excited for it. The 49ers are really hard to target in terms of props. Just because NDFS too, they control the clock really well. They establish the run. They slow the game down. They know what Jimmy G is. And because of that, they really try to keep the ball in his hands as long as possible. Kind of similar to the Packers, just minus the efficiency, right? So the Packers do that same boring thing. The problem is they're so good on third down and they're so good in the red zone that they win games. The 49ers are like that, except they punt the ball, they kick the field goals, they don't go for it on fourth down, and Jimmy G sucks and Aaron Rodgers is really good. So I don't know how helpful that was, but yeah, it's going to be an ugly game. I'll take the 49ers though still.
We got two Bears fans in here, Felix and Sean, talking about Fields going off. I would have loved that last week. That's my DFS option.
If you want odds on that, shoot me a DM on Twitter. I'll give you any odds you want. There's no way that's happening, but I mean, hate to be the bearer of bad news.
400 passing yards at even odds. I'll take the under there.
Yeah, give me 200 passing yards and one touchdown. I'll take the under. This guy, I liked Fields a lot coming out of college. He needs a new. He's got a lot of problems. There's a lot of problems there. I'm rooting for him. I like the guy, but I will not be betting an over on Justin Fields this season. You can guarantee that.
I was worried. I was worried with Fields going to the Bears until I realized and looked into Justin Fields' numbers at Ohio State. He held the ball second longest of any quarterback there. Yeah, Ohio State's line is fucking amazing, dude. Like, he had all day to throw, and you're throwing to Chris Olave, who will be in the league next year. Yep. You got studs. You got Major Teague in the backfield. Like, you have studs. And now you're going to go into probably a bottom 5 blocking front 5 there. Oh, my God. Once I saw that he held the ball that long, I'm like, he is absolutely effed. I'm not going to drop it there.
Yeah, I mean, the guy's got happy feet too, right? As soon as he gets off his first read, it's like, oh, shit, I got to get out the pocket. You know, it just goes downhill really fast. I like him. I'm rooting for the bounce back, but ooh.
So I would definitely say Mixon gets pulled out then. We would just switch it out.
Agreed.
All right, guys, get into your favorite part. I guess we could say we did cash our first one of these last week with my guy going out with injury and Monotone's 1 for 1. So we cashed our parlay of minus 150. So this one will be a little bit more juicy for us.
Yep. So I'm going Cortland Sutton for this one. This might not be the most popular thing in the world. I actually put this in already with the Jerry Judy news not dropping yet. At first, it kind of looked like Judy was going to play, but the more we're looking at it, he might not even suit up. But even if he does, I don't care. Let's look at who beats Washington. Let's look at who scores touchdowns against Washington. It's always that receiver where you think, what's their connection with the quarterback? And it's the quarterback is just going to chuck it and hope they come down with it. We've seen this easily in the past 2 weeks. Tyreek Hill, Devontae Adams, both quarterbacks in situations, fuck it, we're launching it down the field, right? That's exactly what happened. They both scored touchdowns. Sutton is that guy on this team. Additionally, besides the fact that he's one of the better 50-50 ball catchers in the NFL, which instantly makes him a great red zone target, they're actually favored in this game for once. They actually are going against a team that has one of the worst, actually technically the worst secondary in football with my Washington football team. It's going to be an ugly game, and I think it's going to be one where we see Teddy Bridgewater throw the ball a lot. There haven't been that many props posted for Teddy Bridgewater yet, but he is someone I'm looking actively at due to the struggles this Washington secondary has. And like I said, he's a great 50-50 ball guy. You just throw it up to him, he'll bring it down. Fuller isn't going to stop him, unfortunately, for me.
Yeah, Sutton's huge, man. I think that he gets undervalued with Jerry Judy there, getting all that hype coming out of Bama. Obviously, this is his last chance to show out, right? Judy will probably be there next week, ready to roll. Yeah, I like this spot. I think that it's great value, plus 160 on that straight up. Separately, if it was plus 165, I think that's what you sent me. This is actually probably over plus 500 because Godwin's plus 130. I think that is absolutely freaking bonkers. What the hell is going on? If you're going to give me plus 130 on Godwin to score, this man is not going to say Adam Thielen because Adam Thielen, the one time I took him, decided to fuck me, but I'm rolling with Chris Godwin here. Like I said, shootout potential game. Brady throws inside the 5-yard line more than anyone I've ever seen in my entire life. When a normal team with Leonard Fournette would run it up the middle, no, let's just pass it 2 yards to Godwin. The dude's always open. Even when he's not open, Brady finds a way to get it to him. Scored one last week with 111. He scored, I think the one before that was a rushing touchdown 4 weeks ago. So, yeah, he had a little lull before last week at scoring there, and I think that he just adds on to it. And this week that he goes for back-to-back weeks. Last week before the bye week. So this is probably like his last week to go off before Brown comes back too. So getting back to it before Brown was there, Godwin was an absolute beast in fantasy, catching touchdowns most weeks there. So I love Godwin this week. This is a great spot. I think this is another one. We say it every week, but I think this is the one.
Yeah, I mean, we've got 2 guys that are playing for some contract money in the future too, right? You know, Godwin, I think, is signed pretty long term, but I didn't mean contract. I just meant these guys have their competition coming back next week, right? Both of them should see Judy and Brown enter back in the fold pretty soon. And yeah, I didn't mention this too, it was in my notes, but William Jackson is probably out for Washington. He is their best corner and their most physical corner. That's what's more important. He's a bigger corner that can hang with a guy like Sutton. He should not be playing. So that's another plus.
Yeah, I love it. Plus 500 is, like I said, pretty crazy for this line here. And I love it. I think that plus 500 is really nice value for us. We got one question here, and then we will go through a recap and sign off for you guys. Under an hour today. That's very good for us.
Efficiency. Okay, so Washington, Denver. Do you see this game go over 44? Yeah, I mean, Washington's been like great for overs this season. I'm sure you know that. Anyone that's been paying attention knows that. It's hard for me to personally bet it just because I'm one of those believers that I think they'll put everything together one of these weeks. And maybe I'm just a crazy biased fan. I'll accept that criticism of me, but it's the Washington football team gets the second most pressure on the quarterback in the league, right? That's crazy. This team can't sack quarterbacks, but they can get a lot of pressure on them. The secondary has talent, despite the fact that it has been atrocious. Cameron Curl is a good safety. I believe in the defense putting it all together, but gun to my head, I'll take the over because they clearly have not put it together so far.
Yeah, this might be a Denver team total play for me, or this would be I'll tease this 7 points at 37, tease it with New Orleans in the game that I think has the best chance for shootout, or that Jacksonville game. I think that all three of those games have the potential to go over. And if you give me 7 extra points, I think that'd be a great spot. I think this is more of a teaser spot for me. When I do take spreads or money line or spreads or totals, that's usually what I do. But I would probably roll Denver team total. I would assume it's around 21.5 or 20.5. I have no idea, but if they're giving me that much, I would definitely take that or that teaser that I just mentioned.
Yep. And Washington's winning, by the way. You can write that down too. Washington's winning this week. I already have the money line in. Don't even need the spread. So you can write that one down. We're taking Washington money line to the bank. I hit the Wizards last night against the Hawks without Dinwiddie. It's coming together. Trust me. Stamp it.
How did Beal do last night?
He hooked me on my favorite play of the night. Unfortunately, I had him over 27.5 points, and he had 27 points.
Ooh.
So that flipped my night from positive to negative. It happens, though. Beal actually looked good. So for real life basketball purposes, good news, but not for my bankroll.
Thank you. Appreciate it, Sean. I always love your soccer content as well. Make sure you guys go check out his YouTube as well. Let us get to our recap. We'll get it rolling here and then sign off for the weekend, hopefully looking to add to our 30-15 record this week at 26.1 units profit. If you've been tuning in every single week, $100 better, which is, I guess, medium in this day of age. I've seen people post like $1,000 bet tickets. So
yeah,
if you're betting at $100, you're up $2,600. 7 weeks, not bad, return on investment if you're popping in here. So let's get to our 6 plays of the day.
Yep, we're starting out smallest play of the day. Like I said, though, if T.Y. Hilton is in, if that does come out, then I'll bump this up to a unit play. But yeah, over 37.5, longest completion. Somebody caught it at 36. I like that one too. Obviously, it's a better number. Next up, Najee Harris over 4.5 receptions. Add in that Rams money line to bring it down, minus 122. And then finally, both of us are on this guy, Kyle Pitt's longest reception over 21.5 yards. And you can get that 22 too. I like it there also.
Yeah, I just realized I spelled that wrong. Nice. I'm out of it today, I guess.
It's okay.
I just realized that right now.
I didn't even see it either, honestly.
All right, so those are Monotone's 3. My 3 that we're rolling with this week is a 1.5 unit play on Darrell Henderson over 78.5 rushing yards. And another 1.5 on Kyle Pitts over 4.5 receptions. The 2U banger here is going to be Jameis Winston over 252 passing yards. If you do have Bovada, was mentioned that it has 246.5. And also pop over onto FanDuel for the promo they're running for their weekly special. Tom Brady, Jameis Winston over 4.5 combined touchdowns, plus 190 right now. I have it at plus 210. Absolutely great value there as just kind of a fun play to throw in. Top DFS on the same thing again. I know we were on point this week. We were matching up, rolling with some Buccaneers and Tom Brady and Chris Godwin, and then all reliable Dan Arnold and Samaje Perine at our DFS spots. And a free 5 units here. This is, remember the one guy you said 2.5 units on the
Yeah, we cashed it for him last week, right?
Yeah, so we're going to I like this one. I probably will have a full unit on this one at Godwin and Cortland Sutton there. Plus 500 on the touchdown parlay. So that is it, guys. Just over an hour, 1 hour, 23 seconds now. Monotone, you got anything for the people before we sign off for the weekend?
Yeah, lots going on. Obviously, make sure to hit up the YouTube channel at Monotone Betting. It's down in the description right below. Beyond that, everything else is on Twitter at Monotone Football right here. So, yeah, got the finger point worked out. We're feeling good.
Yeah, guys, again, if you need to see any other free plays that we drop, we will both be on Twitter. Make sure you go follow us if you don't. If not, thank you guys so much for popping in with us and joining us today. It was another fun episode. We will see you in not a full week, in about, 5 days on Wednesday for our NBA version of Pass the Prop. Looking to improve on our 3-1 week 1, and we're looking to improve on our 30-15 record here for NFL. So thank you guys so much. We appreciate you tuning in again with us at 2:00 here. I know it's a weird time, but we're here ready to drop some plays. So hopefully you got in our plays, because the money always finds a way to move our lines a little bit. And everybody who got in here gets that line at the best value. So thank you guys so much for tuning in to Pass the Prop. We will be back in a few days to see you guys for NBA. Thank you guys.